kidding me?
Last night was the game of the season for the Braves. They came back from a 6-run deficit to knock off the defending world champions 9-8 in extra innings. And tonight, the Braves will try to shock the Giants and Hunter Pence again as we meet in the middle game of 3 here at Turner Field in Atlanta. Adonis Garcia was the hitting hero last night. Who will be the hero tonight? We'll find out in just a few short moments. Hi again, friends, along with Joe Simpson, Chip Carey. Welcome to Turner Field, where the Braves stunned the baseball world last night with a great victory. However, Joe, it was a victory tempered by the fact that the Braves have lost their first baseman again.
Yeah, that's not a good thing at all because they just got Freddie back. He was playing in his first home game since the middle of June. But what a great win it was for the Atlanta Braves despite this. Freddie fouled that ball off in the 4th inning. Obvious pain. We all were worried that it was his wrist. Fortunately, it wasn't. It is an oblique injury, but let's hope he's not out too long.
Every major league manager will tell you can't worry about who's not here, but who is here. And that's exactly what Freddie Gonzalez talked about regarding Freddie Freeman earlier today.
He had it it's coming similar in 13 and early in the season. And so we're hoping that's kind of the same type grade. He is going to Orlando, and you got to do his rehab there, and hopefully we get him back soon.
Indeed, Joe, because when Freddie Freeman missed a month, we saw the Braves offense score about a run and a half less per game without Freddie Freeman in the lineup. That's exactly what Shelby Miller doesn't want to hear because a lack of run support's been a big problem for him.
Shelby Miller's been the guy that's been snake bitten all year. He's pitched great baseball, but his record certainly doesn't indicate that. His record 5-8, but a 2.44 ERA, that's not bad. That's the 6th best in all of baseball. He's got the 7th best home ERA in baseball at 1.89. He's been very good here at Turner Field. But you know what? The way the ball was jumping out of this ballpark last night, Tim Hudson said the same thing. Neither one of us had ever seen the ball jump like that here.
It was a crazy night. 8 homers and 8 combined strikeouts. That's it for the Braves and Giants in Game 1. And A.J. Przinsky was a big part of it. His blast tied the game, and he was fired up. When we come back, we'll talk about Przinsky power here in Atlanta, GA.
in this park for the 69th time. Nothing bigger than that 43rd win here in the 10 against them last night. Man, oh man. Hello again, everyone. I'm Andre Aldridge. How many times have you heard from our guys in the booth this season? Where in the world would the Braves be without A.J. Pierzynski this campaign? He continues to show that he's a bad, bad man. And look at some of his work. Last night, 4-hit game. No big deal. He's done that 3 times this season. 4 for 6 last night. That gave Ty and home run, and he is also the focus of our Zaxby's indescribably good play. 444 on base percentage in his last 20 games. 416 batting average in his last 20. You want to take that back to July 1st? Okay, hit 375 since then. Now look, I'm not brave enough to snoop around AJ's locker, but I'm certain he has the same wallet that Samuel Jackson had in Pulp Fiction. That's right. I dare you to prove me that he isn't Jules Winfield. Is a leader in more ways than one, not just with his bat, but with his bat. He is just Paul Bunyan and then some. So hopefully AJ can continue to have that big-time success and help out our guy, Shelby Miller, take care of the W's that he's been missing. It's going to be a good one against the defending champ. Chip and Joe have the call after the break. Braves, Giants, you're going to enjoy every minute of it.
Beautiful night in Atlanta. Guess what? The wind is blowing out again. We had a shootout last night. The Braves won in extra innings. 4 homers for the Giants, 4 homers for the Braves. We'll see what we have in store tonight for Shelby Miller, who hopes to get one more run than the San Franciscans in Game 2.
He'd settle for 1 at this point, and then he'd work on it from then on, because he's 0-7 his last 13 starts with an excellent ERA, because he's getting 1.3 run support. 1.3. Come on, let's go. Let's break out those bats for Shelby like you did last night. 4 keys to pitching success, tone setter. Get off to a good start. He has a good game every time he gets through the first couple of innings, and with a couple of strikeouts with that fastball. This is a high average hitting team. You can't pitch to the middle of the plate. You got to be working on those corners tonight, so stay out of the middle.
And let's see if he can retire Noichika Aoki, the Giants left fielder who had a 2-hit, 1 RBI game last night. And we are underway. Ball 1. 94 degrees in Atlanta tonight, and the wind blowing straight out. That's too high to Aoki. 2 balls, no strikes. Aoki just back from the disabled list for the Giants. He had a broken fibula when he was hit by a pitch. Part of the Giants-Dodgers rivalry. Aoki has 5 hits in 19 at-bats since coming off the DL. He'll be followed by Gregor Blanco, the San Francisco center fielder. The pitch is hit in the air toward right. Markakis in the dappled sunshine nears the line and makes the play. And there's out number 1. San Francisco at 57 and 48 on the year. The Giants are 3 games behind the Dodgers. Bruce Bochy's starting 9 is presented by Academy Sports. You've always got to worry about Buster Posey, Hunter Pence, and Brandon Belt. That trio last night was very, very potent. Brandon Crawford's not too shabby either. He had a couple of homers too.
But just like that fly ball that Aoki just hit, nothing's routine, it seems, since the Braves have come home. Last night, all those home runs, several of them just looked like routine fly balls, and they went out.
Gregor Blanco, one of the rare players who didn't enjoy hitting last night. He wore an 0 for 4 collar. It was a late addition to the Giants lineup. Angel Pagan was supposed to start lead off, but he's got a balky knee. So Blanco's back in there for a 2nd straight game.
Only time he reached last night was when he got hit in the arm by Ross Detweiler.
One ball, 2 strikes.
AJ's reactions last night, as Andre was talking about him, the home run, very satisfying, gratifying to him, of course, to tie the game, to help the team. But watching him run out on the field twirling that towel after the game winner, that was worth the price of admission.
In the air to center field, a base hit by Blanco on a 1-2 count. And that's Gregor's first base hit of the series. The former Brave stands there ahead of Mr. Duffy, the Giant third baseman.
This is a very flat breaking ball, and it didn't do much. It was just more or less a cement mixer, so he was able to level off on it. These guys don't miss mistakes. As we've talked about, they've scored more 2-out runs than any team in baseball. They just sit and wait for strikes and high average.
Matt Duffy, a candidate for the Rookie of the Year in the National League, hitting .301 and hitting 3rd on the Giant lineup card. Joe, you're right about the 2-out runs. The Giants have scored 205 runs this year with 2 outs. The Braves have scored a grand total of 394 runs.
Shelby gave up a bunch of hits in that loss at Philadelphia, his last start. 6 innings, 11 hits. But it turned into only 4 runs because he only walked 1 batter. And got 1 whole run of support. Got beat 4-1.
Close play at first. It's a very similar line to what happened to Shelby on May 28th. Braves were beaten by the Giants 7-0. Shelby went 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 run.
That 1 run was a Brandon Belt home run.
Blanco a good lead, not going, and the pitch is too far inside. 2 balls, no strikes. I know players always try to say the right thing. Look, it's what the team does, not what I do. But you've got to think Shelby Miller, as this ball is hit the other way for a soft single. Blanco around second. He's going to make it to third without a throw. And the Giants threaten here in the first inning. I imagine that Shelby Miller's got to feel like he can't give up anything to have a chance.
And that's, I think, in some cases where he's been behind in the count, where he's been tried to be too fine. That was on the outside corner. Good piece of hitting again by Duffy. An excellent base running by Blanco as he cut that corner at second base about as sharp as you can.
Now Georgia's own Buster Posey stands in, 2 on and 1 man out. Posey had a feast or famine night last night. He hit a homer. He had an RBI single in the 12th inning, drove in 3 runs, but also hit into 2 double plays.
This is one spot in the order that Shelby's had a lot of success. Cleanup hitters. They're hitting just 150 against him with 18 strikeouts and 60 at bats. He's got a tough hombre here.
Low and outside, ball 2. Posey's 2-run homer in the 3rd inning last night made it a 4-0 Giants game. And he gave them an 8-7 lead in the 12th inning with the 6th 2-out RBI for the Giants.
He also hit into 2 double plays.
Line toward left and almost misjudged out there by Yuri Perez. But tagging from 3rd and scoring will be Gregor Blanco. It's an RBI for Buster Posey, his 74th. And the Giants have scored a 1st inning run.
Braves did not give up a run in the 1st last night, but they gave up 2 in the 2nd. And the 1st inning continues to be problematic, not just for Shelby, but all the starting pitchers, it seems.
And we've talked about it all year. Early runs are awfully important. And Miller surrenders 1 on the sac fly, and that brings up Hunter Pence. Tipped into AJ's glove, strike 1.
Threw that one right by him. He was late.
Pence has missed a lot of time this year for the Giants. A fractured forearm and then a wrist problem. Swing and a miss. AJ's throw will short hop the bag at 2nd. And Duffy in safely with his 5th stolen base of the year. And now he's in scoring position on an 0-2 count.
He's got some long legs, long strider. Tough pitch for AJ to throw on. Couldn't get the ball back over there in time to get a good release on it.
Strike 3, a blazing fastball, shaved the outside corner. San Francisco gets a run on 2 hits and a Buster Posey sacrifice fly. Miller in the bottom of the 1st inning. The Braves at 48 and 58 on the year. Oh, what a great offensive night for Atlanta last night. 9 runs on 17 hits. Nick Markakis had a big game. 3 hits atop the Academy Sports and Outdoors batting order. No Freddie Freeman. That means Chris Johnson is back in the lineup. And we'll see how the Braves fare against a crafty old veteran Jake Peavy of the Giants.
He's 34 years old now, 6'1", 180, born in Mobile, Alabama, still lives in Alabama. Good numbers against the Braves, although his record's not all that good. Just a .216 average against him. 2-0 over his last 3 against the Braves in his career.
And a sinker in for a strike. It's 0-1. Nick at 294, 34 knocked in. This is Nick's 8th game in the leadoff spot again for the Braves. Chase Peterson moved up to the first spot for a couple of months. Markakis is hitting first, and he's done a nice job. 12 hits, 31 at bats over those last 7 games. Popped up. That's headed over the Giants dugout, and no play from Matt Duffy. 0-2 your count. Last time Jake Peavy started a game in Atlanta, it was income tax day 2006. Lifetime 3-4 against the Braves, and Markakis got jammed, and he loops one towards short. Crawford tracked it down. Markakis might have broken his bat, and he's the first out. Giants D let him down late last night. Brandon Crawford with his second late inning error in as many games against the Braves. But still, he's a terrific young shortstop. Matt Duffy is outstanding at third base as well. Adrianza at second, Brandon Belt at first, Posey behind the plate. Joe Panik, their second baseman, out and on the disabled list with a bad back. And Yuri Perez takes a ball. 1 ball, no strikes.
Jake Peavy's one of those guys that does not have first inning problems. His first 7 starts, opponents are 2 for 22 against him, an .091 average in the first inning.
Jake Peavy now 34 years old. 12 full major league seasons, former Cy Young Award winner, 3-time All-Star. He's got a couple of World Series rings, one with the Red Sox, one with the Giants.
Also won a Gold Glove and has over 2,000 major league strikeouts.
He's got a lot of Jason Grilli in him. When he lets go of that fastball, you can hear Peavy grunt as he turns it loose.
Well, he got mad at himself. There were a couple of grunts there, and the second one was at himself. He will talk to himself during the course of the night on the mound.
There's a line drive past Crawford and into center field. Perez has his first hit of the series. A 1-out single sets it up for A.J. Pierzynski.
Fastball, ran it in on him, and here he did a good job of just fighting it off. Maybe that'll start something to get the Braves back even.
A.J. Pierzynski provided one of the remarkable moments of this Braves season in the 9th inning last night. A 2-out, 2-run homer to tie the game with the Giants. Made it 7-7. Seven homers, 34 runs batted in for the Braves catcher. And a strike. We heard Johnny Gomes in our chat with him in Philadelphia talk about the fact that AJ's the oldest catcher in the National League. It's not all of baseball. You wouldn't have known it from his reactions in the late innings last night.
No, he was like a kid, wasn't he?
I loved his quote. I'm paraphrasing AJ's words after that dramatic victory last night. And it's along the lines of what we were talking about. We all know what the Braves team does not have, right? I mean, this is not a star-studded lineup by any stretch of the imagination. But they also have a lot of something you really can't measure, and that's heart and hustle and determination and effort. And that has been visible from the very first day of spring training. And that's one reason why A.J. Pierzynski and Johnny Gomes and others were brought to the Braves organization. They were able to rise up and stun the Giants in game 1 of the series here in Atlanta.
It doesn't happen very often to San Francisco with their bullpen when they've got a 6-run lead early in the ball game.
Swing and a miss. That was a nasty pitch. Darting across the shoot tops of A.J. Pierzynski. And Peavy has his first strikeout.
He had 4 strikeouts in 8 innings at Milwaukee his last start. A slider down and in. A place where A.J. likes the ball down and in, but that was biting right in on his back foot. No decision for Peavy in his start against Milwaukee. Giants won it 4-3. He went 8.
Runner goes. Swing and a miss. Posey's throw is going to be in time. Yuri Perez is thrown out trying to steal a base for the very first time. Freddie Gonzalez is checking with his bench staff to see if this one is going to be reviewed. Perez for the moment called out at second. Let's take a look.
Hand into the foot again. We've seen a couple of Braves players have that happen to him. Cameron Maybin was the last.
And the call will stand. There'll be no appeal. A 2-4 put out by Buster Posey. And the Giants lead by 1 after 1.
Your local Ford dealer.
Brandon Belt will lead off for San Francisco. They've got double-barrel Brandons to start the inning, as a matter of fact. Belt, then Crawford, then Ahire Adrianza. Jammed him, and a ground ball to second. And that takes care of Belt. 1 man down. Let's check out the Braves defensive lineup, brought to you by CPI Security. Let's start on the infield. Chris Johnson and Adonis Garcia, the cornermen, Castro and Peterson up the middle. A.J. Brzezinski's behind the plate. Perez, Maven, and Markakis around the horn. You know about Freddie Freeman. He was disabled today with an oblique, but it did appear that Andrelton Simmons is nearing a return to the Braves. We saw him taking ground balls, made a few throws, and his sore right thumb did not appear to be very heavily taped.
Yeah, if he made as much improvement from Sunday to, if he made as much improvement yesterday as he did from Sunday to Monday, then he probably will be pretty close. Obviously, that felt pretty good. That little flip to second. But the true test will be with the bat.
And that first shot you take off the end of the bat or right down by the knuckles, right?
Yeah.
No balls, 2 strikes. Braves had to play short-handed last night. Once Freeman left, Simmons not available. Atlanta ran out of extra players in extra innings. Chris Johnson in foul ground has a lot of room. He'll make the play. Crawford's the second out. And 2 men are down for Adrianza.
A couple of outs on pitches in. Jammed both of them.
Adrianza hitting a .143 for the Giants, and that's out of play. Freddie Freeman wasn't the only roster move the Braves made today. Jason Frazier's come up with a sore shoulder. So Ryan Kelly has been brought up from Gwinnett, as has been Joey Turdoslavich.
Makes you wonder about last night, as Vizcaino and Frazier were the last 2 guys left in the Braves bullpen. Vizcaino came in and pitched the 12th, and makes you wonder if they even had another pitcher left, or if they were going to have to add to their bullpen with one of the starters.
That one squibbed up the middle. Castro to his left. Fast runner, but he still got him. And Shelby Miller had a nice 1-2-3 inning. And he needed just 8 pitches. All of them were strikes. Chris Johnson worked for the Braves down an early run. Ball history. We head down to Arlington, Texas. August 4th, 1993. Robin Ventura versus Nolan Ryan.
Bad idea. All Nolan had to do is act like he was bulldogging a steer, which he does all the time anyway.
And in case those of you wondered, if ever Joe and I have a dispute on how we handle the opening commentary, that's pretty much how it works out.
It is. It is. And it doesn't take long.
As Chris Johnson's back in the box, he was hitting when Perez was thrown out trying to steal. I'm sure Robin Ventura is going to be asked that today by somebody. That had to be one of those heat of the moment things, and it's only a guess, but I would think 2 steps in he had to have been thinking, well, I'm committed, but what the heck am I doing?
He just ran right into that headlock. That was just bad planning. Chris Johnson had some really good swings last night. Not only the home run, of course, and the base hit that preceded AJ's homer, but he lined out his first at bat last night. So all good signs that he's swinging it really well right now. He's got a pretty good string working.
That's into the seats and out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ball really jumped off Chris's bat last night.
Yeah, there were 8 home runs hit in all. There were 2 or 3 that you thought, those were routine outs on any given day. This ain't one of them. I don't know what the tail of the tape was on that. Had to be about 425 to straightaway center. He crushed it.
So Chris with a couple of homers, 11 runs batted in. This one popped into right and right at Hunter Pence. There's out number 1. Well, Chris has made no secret of the fact that he would like to play more. With Uribe and Kelly Johnson traded, with Freddie Freeman on the disabled list, I would think he's going to get his wish for the next couple of weeks.
I would think so.
Here's Cameron Maybin. Mentioned the Giants made a last-minute lineup change before the game yesterday. The Braves did too. Originally, Cameron Maybin was locked into the 2nd spot on the lineup card, but Kevin Seitzer and Cameron Maybin lobbied Freddie Gonzalez to drop him down into a run-producing spot. It was the 5th spot where he hit last night and hits again tonight. The way the lineup is constructed right now, Cameron Maybin and Jace Peterson are the top RBI men in the Braves starting 9.
Yeah, so that was certainly a logical move, and Yuri Perez can run, although he just got thrown out trying to steal by Buster Posey, but he's got good speed. He's had a good on base percentage.
That's out to second. Adrianza makes the play. 2 out.
So far we've seen Jake Peavy pitch in a lot to everybody. He's trying to keep the ball in on guys and then let his slider do the work away to right-handers.
You mentioned the nice run that Chris Johnson's on. The same could be said for Jace Peterson. And he has worn out the Giants pitching staff this year. And he's our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot feature.
351, 6 RBIs in 10 games. Not too shabby. I had Drew look up his home runs. He's hit 5, 1 grand slam, 3 3-run homers, and 1 solo. And last night, the first he's hit at Turner Field.
Back and out of play. Count even now, 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's still 2-2 for Peterson. He woke up this morning and checked out the Eastern Division standings in the National League. There's a new leader. It's the Mets. They're a game ahead of the Nationals. Both the Mets and Nationals are in action tonight and scoreless. As Peterson has another hit. Went down and got that one. 2-out single.
Fouled off some pitches. Got one he could handle down and in. That's the slider. Good pitch. Suppose he was ready to block it if he had to. Chase on a good run.
7 hits in his last 14 at bats now. Let's see if Adonis Garcia can turn the game around with one mighty swing. He did that last night. And that's outside, ball 1. The Braves media notes before the game tonight tell us that Garcia is the first Brave since Brett Butler whose first 3 home runs were go-ahead homers. And with all due respect to Adonis, your reaction last night was priceless. Are you kidding me? I don't think anybody thought or suspected he'd be the hitting hero.
I can't believe they called this a strike. PNC Bank high out of the zone. Lance Barrett, home plate umpire tonight. And all 3 of his homers have been to the opposite field. Last night deep left center, but the other 2 pretty much straight away right field.
Crawford at short has it, flips to second in time, and that will retire the side. No runs, a hit, a man left. Jake Peavy leads off the Giants' third. $20,000 guests through the gates. We'll get a bobblehead featuring the newly elected Hall of Famer. Get your tickets today by visiting Braves.com/tickets.
So I understand last night after the Braves game on MLB Network, they were in their studio where they've got the field set up, and Hall of Fame pitcher John Smoltz was demonstrating how to go up over the fence and bring a home run back.
Really?
Yeah. In light of Yuri Perez being tested 3 times last night, some close plays.
I think John was just trying to get the hamstrings ready for the softball game on Saturday.
You get in the Hall of Fame and all of a sudden you're an authority on everything. You know what I mean?
2 balls and a strike. Well, I've heard from you and Bobby Cox in his day here, members of our crew. They say that John was the best power shagger in the business.
Well, he'd make the outfielders get out of the way. and we'd be up here, writing our scorebooks, making our lineups out, and I'd hear the crowd cheer every once in a while, and then you'd look out, you'd know where to look. That'd be John with both arms in the air, celebrating victory.
Peavy's going to ground out to second, and there's out number one. I mean, he did that at the softball game. Was it last year, 2 years ago? I mean, he was jumping over the picket fences, bringing home runs back. There's a man possessed out there. So he'll be fired up for his bobblehead night. And it'll be great to see John. Can't wait to talk to him about his Cooperstown experience. Another great Brave in the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Here's Nori Aoki, and that's a little low. Aoki flied out to right his first time up. He got jammed, and Peterson's going to throw him out. 2 outs.
He's getting in on some hands, isn't he? Base hit by Blanco that got the rally started in the first inning was just a spinner slider. Duffy found a hole going to the right side where Blanco was being held on, and then the sac fly.
Strike one. Last time out, Miller gave up 4 runs, 11 hits in 6 innings. Really had to work hard in the first inning against the Phillies. Under the Odubel Herrera at bat, saw Shelby need 10 pitches to retire him on a hot night like tonight, but maybe more humid in Philadelphia than tonight. He really had to labor for those 6 innings against the Phillies. Tonight, 1 run on 2 hits, and much more economical.
And using his fastball a lot. Jake Peavy's pretty much in the same boat, although not over as long a stretch as Shelby's had to go and endure without run support. For Peavy, 5 of his 7 starts coming into tonight, they've scored 2 runs or less.
Full count. If he has a first inning hit, he waits next. Miller would like to see him in the 4th. And he will if Chris Johnson can make a play. He steps on the bag, and on we go to the home third. Castro, Miller, and Markakis coming up. The Giants have an early run. Peavy is pitching for San Francisco. He's also our AT&T Uverse Trivia question subject since his debut in 2002. Who's the only pitcher with more strikeouts and fewer walks than Jake Peavy?
Is that an active player? We're waiting to hear from.
Waiting to hear. Yeah, waiting to hear from
the third precinct.
Oh, no hints. Swing and a miss. Tim Hudson came to mind. A little low.
Yeah, I like the Hudson call. I also like that because there was no hint. Since that player is in uniform but not active, they're on the DL.
Base hit by Daniel Castro on a 1-2 count. And let's see if Shelby Miller can move Castro along.
A lot of people have been asking me, who is this guy? Who's Garcia? Where'd they come from? What have they done in the organization? And it's hard to explain to them that, we didn't see him in spring training. Garcia got picked up after he got released by the Yankees. And Castro.
Miller got the bunt down. Peavy took a look and has only one play. Shelby helps himself.
And that is his 7th sacrifice. Good job. But Daniel Castro, we've been impressed with him from the first time we saw him. He came up for really a cup of coffee earlier this year and got a base hit. His only at bat. And he's doing a real nice job of filling in defensively at shortstop and getting just about a hit a game.
And Daniel's a guy that might be around a while. He's only 22. Out of Sonora, Mexico. Markakis takes a strike. Castro signed with the Braves as a 16-year-old. And he played in the Mexican League with the Saltillo Seraperos. Played 2 years there. Then in 2013 he was assigned to Lynchburg. This year he started the year at Gwinnett. Fly ball, that's well hit. Tailing away from Pence. He makes a try to drop. Here comes Castro around third. The throw to the plate. Late. Pence did everything but hang on to the baseball, and the game is tied.
Two guys made tremendous efforts here. One by Pence, who I thought caught the ball, and I really think he did until he hit the ground. He's got it in the glove, and as soon as he hit the ground, it pops out. And the other is Castro. Castro was halfway to third, went back to tag up. And then when the ball dropped, now he's going to have to turn the Jets on to still score. And Bo Porter wisely just kept waving him. And it was that close. Good hustle by Castro.
So a hit from Markakis gives him an 11-game hitting streak, and Shelby Miller gets an early run. The game's tied 1 apiece. Tied him up. Inside corner strike. A run on 4 hits for the Braves, who've had 10 hits in 4 of their last 5 games. A fly out play.
Watch Daniel. He's almost to third base. Started back to second base. Changed directions twice there. And then really had to pick him up and lay him down to get in there.
Great effort by Pence. Just couldn't hang on as that ball was tailing away from him. 0-2 pitch. And Perez took a call. Third strike. 2 are out. Peavy's second strikeout in the game brings up A.J. Brzezinski, who was Jake's first victim tonight. Bouncing ball through. Crawford dived and couldn't make the play. A.J. goes the other way. He's got a 2-out hit.
And that was exactly where Posey and Peavy wanted it. He just spoiled it. What a series he's having against the Giants.
And he's got a double-digit hit streak. Brzezinski's is up to 10 in a row with a hit. And here's that man, Chris Johnson, again.
You never want to make the last out at third base. And as a base runner, running from first to second in the case of Markakis, you're watching the ball, you're following the track of the ball as it goes into left field. Had he been able to notice, there was nobody at third base because they had a slight shift on for him, and Duffy was way over going for the ball along with Crawford. There was no one at third.
Let's see if Chris can make that academic with a 2-out hit. He's behind in the count 0-2. Just missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He got a call earlier from Lance Barrett. This one on our PNC Bank Fox track shows it just got evened up.
Fouled away. All the major league media guides, there's some personal and miscellaneous information, some notes about each player in a particular organization's roster. Jake Peavy maybe a little confused. He graduated from St. Paul's Episcopal High School in Alabama and had a letter of intent to play baseball at Auburn. But he's an avid University of Alabama football fan. You don't think Tim Hudson gets on Jake Peavy about that?
I would say he does.
One ball, 2 strikes. Chris serves one, just fouled on the first base line.
Trying to tie him up inside, make it hard for him to inside out the ball behind in the count, and with a right-handed hitter, maybe he will cross him up and turn on one.
He got that with a backhand on a short hop.
He was very fortunate there. I mean, he's good. He's very good. But on a slider that far outside, for him to be able to just reach and backhand it, pretty fortunate.
Posey committed his first error of the year last night. It was a throwing error on a stolen base attempt. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on. Game tied, 1 apiece. Chris Johnson's making Peavy work now. He's up over 50 pitches.
He's throwing a cutter with his fastball. He's throwing the fastball in on right-handers that we've seen countless times already. And then he'll come back with the cutter. That's still just a little bit different than his slider. Slider has kind of a downward tilt. The cutter is a little flatter.
Chris will see a 9th pitch. There's a lucky fan. Nice catch. Pitch number 10 is coming up. One close to Cameron Maybin, who's waiting on deck.
His fastball, his 4-seamer has been right at 90-91 from the start of the ball game. No matter how hard he grunts.
A.J. Brzezinski clapping his hands in appreciation of Chris Johnson's at bat here. And now he's forced to full count. So the advantage for the runners. Markakis and Brzezinski will be off with the pitch.
How far Belt is off the first base line there.
Surprising after Johnson nearly flared a double down the right field line earlier in the at bat.
Well, he's seen just about everything Jake has to offer. Just a matter of executing a pitch. And if he makes a mistake, Chris will make him pay.
Swing and a miss. Peavy had to work overtime to retire Chris Johnson, but the Braves have tied the game 1 apiece. Professionally monitored in-touch system with $1,800 in free equipment, including an exterior camera and touchscreen door lock. Please visit cpisecurity.com. Follow the Braves wherever you are with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. That is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or your tablet. New life for Shelby Miller. The Braves provided him a third-inning run on a Nick Markakis RBI single.
Happy birthday.
Shelby back to work. He's retired 8 straight.
That Braves fan goes all the way back to 2005.
Ball 1, strike 1 for third baseman Matt Duffy. We have ties older than that kid.
Oh, we sure do.
No need to wear them these last several days. Temperature tonight 94 at first pitch.
No, they'll be ready to break out again next April.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And that's in the dirt. It's 2-2. Phillies have scored a run off Alex Wood tonight. Alex Wood debuting for the Dodgers at Citizens Bank Park. 1-0 Phillies.
An unearned run.
Jimmy Rollins has returned to Philly with the Dodgers. There's a strike over the outside corner. Perfect pitch. Miller's retired 9 in a row.
When you pitch inside, you take away the willingness of a hitter to drape out over the plate. This is just a perfectly executed pitch then to the outside corner when they're thinking inside, when they're respecting the fact that you can throw the ball by them inside. That's the good payoff right there.
Posey with 74 RBIs put the Giants up in the first inning.
Buster's one of the toughest hitters to strike out in the National League too. Get what the number of at bats is. Third hardest National League player to strike out. One every 12.24 plate appearances. For a guy that inflicts the damage he does, that is ridiculously good.
Andrelton Simmons of the Braves is the toughest hitter to strike out, once every 14 at bats. That one's fouled straight back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Posey's 74th RBI in the books. He's now 6 behind Nolan Arenado of the Rockies, who leads the National League in RBIs. Paul Goldschmidt of the Diamondbacks is second with 77. Fly ball well hit toward right, but it's going to stay in the park. Markakis has it.
Posey has one of those swings that looks easy, but it's kind of like those pitchers that have easy gas, you know, that throw hard and the ball comes out of their hands so easily. His swing makes it look like that. He swings hard, it just doesn't look like he's swinging hard, and great bat speed.
And what a luxury too for the Giants, Joe, that Bruce Bochy in the American League ballpark certainly has the option of DHing Buster Posey. Great catcher, but he's also an excellent defensive first baseman too. So against the real tough left-handers, he can give Bell tonight off, play Posey at first, and not lose anything offensively or defensively when Brandon Belt needs a day off. And Posey needs a rest from the duties of working behind the plate.
Yeah, it seems like that usually happens against a left-handed starter. They give Belt a day off.
Sharply hit, but Jace has it. And Hunter Pence hustling down the line as he always does. 11 straight retired by Miller. Let's get him a lead. Cameron Maybin leads off next.
And outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day.
1-1 game. We head to the home fourth. And fans, now it's time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag SouthDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by T-Mobile. Buster Posey and Nick Markakis have the RBIs tonight. Let's see what Cameron Maybin has in store as the Braves hit the fourth inning. Chase Peterson and Adonis Garcia to follow. Fouled back to the screen. Before we took air tonight, what I thought was a shocking story developed in Major League Baseball. Dave Dombrowski, the longtime general manager of the Detroit Tigers, was released from his contract by the Detroit organization. Al Avila has taken over for Dave Dombrowski.
That's very odd terminology to me. Released from his contract. Didn't say he was fired. To me, it almost sounded like he had asked to be released from his contract. You know, that maybe he was planning to go somewhere else. I don't know. Who knows? But that was odd. An odd description.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, many have said, Joe, that the window of opportunity for the Tigers is shrinking with the advancing ages of Victor Martinez and Miguel Cabrera, who's hurt, and Justin Verlander, who hasn't been Verlander this season for the Tigers. They unloaded David Price to Toronto, got 3 terrific prospects back, including Daniel Norris. And the Tigers start play tonight, only 3 games out of the second wild card.
Yeah, it's hard to call it a wasted year when they're that close, because they are the Detroit Tigers. They're just on some hard times right now.
Damon's down on strikes. There's out number 1. The caveat to where the Tigers are, again, being just 3 games out of first, they'd have to pass Texas, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Minnesota, and Baltimore. That's a very difficult task, but certainly manageable with 2 months of baseball left. And they are going to get Miguel Cabrera back, and it'd be a huge difference maker for them. And so automatically the speculation begins as to where, if anywhere, Dave Dombrowski is going to end up.
Well, he's too good a baseball man not to stay in the game in some capacity somewhere. Would be a valuable asset to any team.
Bounding ball, foul, even count for Peterson. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's another happy customer with a souvenir. Nice strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count.
You go to the ball game like that young man did, and you come away and you've got a foam finger and a foul ball. It's a good night.
Line foul left side, 1-2.
That young lad also happy. See, he's got the 2 B's. He got the beer in the ball.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Peavy slings that one out of the strike zone. 2-2. Several deep counts for Jake Peavy in the game tonight. Took him 11 pitches to retire Chris Johnson in the Braves' 3rd inning. He got Maben to swing and miss here in the 4th, and now he's full with Jace. And he's down on strikes. 3 strikeouts in a row for Peavy, and 4 of the last 5 Braves hitters.
Slider, back foot slider, good pitch. I mean, always a tough competitor, always, no matter how rough things were for him physically, going from the Padres to the White Sox to the Red Sox, now here in San Francisco. Everybody admired and loved to have him on their club because of his competitive spirit.
Swing and a miss. Nothing in 2.
And he was on the disabled list this year. Missed all of May and June with lower back and hip problems. And he wanted to pitch through that, and they wouldn't let him.
The Giants dressed with a believe might be a bit of a shortcoming as they defend their world championship. And as they added a starting pitcher, Mike Leake came over from the Cincinnati Reds. He and Bumgarner, a real nice 1-2 tandem for Bruce Bochy. 0-2 pitch. Matt Cain's coming back, as we saw last night. He left with the lead. Chris Heston's won 11 games in 21 starts.
We'll see Madison Bumgarner tomorrow. You saw him in the picture a minute ago.
And a swing and a miss. Peavy just struck out the side. He's got 6 strikeouts tonight. And the game turns back into the hands of Shelby Miller, who's retired 11 straight Giants. After a slugfest last night, we've got a pitcher's duel through 4. Peavy and Miller tied up 1 apiece. Approach 8:30 Eastern time. Brandon Belt leads off for San Francisco as we hit the 5th inning. Shelby Miller is rolling along. He set down 11 straight men. 94 miles an hour.
And inside. Loving it. Loving the way he's working tonight.
That's out of play, foul. Interesting when you look at the standings for the Braves. They're 8 games out of first place in the East. They've made the fringes of the National League wild card race. They're 10 out there. It may sound preposterous to some to think that the Braves are in this hunt in either one of those races. Johnny Gomes told us Oakland was 14.5 games out at one point, led for 4 innings and went to the playoffs. It's certainly possible. And one way the Braves can do that is to play good baseball at home. The Braves have more home games left than any other team in baseball. And they're in a stretch of 9 of their next 11 games here at Turner Field, where this year the Braves are 7 games over 500.
Well, it's about time. I mean, how many 3-city trips have the Braves had already? 4. Thanks, Drew. You know, who's counting?
Right.
Who's counting about those 3-city trips? Whew.
Just a bit low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. After we play the Marlins this weekend, we'll have an exhausting 3-day trip to Tampa Bay, where we'll play the Rays in 2 games and then come right back to Atlanta. Took a little off, and Belt rolled to second, and there's out number 1. I'm so excited about that trip, I'm going to bring a different suitcase.
Wow, that's cool.
Tired of looking at the other one. To be honest with you. 1 up, 1 down for Crawford. The Giants shortstop is on pace to hit 28 homers and knock in 103 runs. Buster Posey on pace for a 100 RBI season. Line drive to left, and Perez makes a diving play.
Sinking, slicing, and he still made a good play on it. Excellent play. Tough one to read. Stayed with it.
Ray Adrianza, the batter, he's bounced out to short. Finished the point on Crawford and Posey. The last 2 Giants to have 100 or more RBIs in the same season was 2002. Barry Bonds and Jeff Kent.
Well, it's only in keeping since those 2 guys were so close.
Yeah. 1 pitch, another chance for Perez. This one, he's holding the glove up, thinking he caught it, and the ball is squirted toward the stands.
We saw that once before. Where was that? Was that against Milwaukee?
Marcell Ozuna with the Marlins in Miami.
Ozuna. There's a little grin on his face, but you understand why. He thought he caught the ball. Great play if you only had the baseball. What?
Yeah, everybody in the Braves dugout screaming, you don't have it. Huh? Oh.
That's very amusing, provided Shelby gets this guy.
Jake Peavy, high hopper. Castro's got it from the outfield grass, slings it to first, and now everybody can smile and take a breath. Perez made a great diving try, just couldn't hang on, but the Giants can't capitalize. Yuri Perez is hearing it from his teammates.
I mean, everybody. Pedro Siriaco is having a ball with this. Terry Pendleton doesn't want to come out of the dugout. He's been laughing so hard he wants to hear all the lines. Look at Johnny Gomes. Gomes said, "Hey, use your hat." You know. Oh, it went on and on and on.
We are really fortunate. This is a good group of kids.
Boy, it sure is. Has been all year.
It has been. So after the Adrianza double, Peavy grounds out to send the game to the home fifth. 8-9-1 up for the Braves. Castro, Miller, and Nick Markakis. Castro singled and scored on the drive that Pence couldn't corral in right center field. Hammered foul, strike one. That's just foul past third.
Tell you what, Daniel Castro, middle in, got to be careful. He is awfully quick in there.
.74 pitches for Peavy. And now the 0-2. Routed towards second. Adrianza has it, and Castro is the first out. Miami has jumped in front of the Mets 1-0. That game moves to the fifth inning down at Marlins Park. That's Jonathan Neese and Brad Hand. Neese going through a stretch like Shelby Miller is. Last 9 starts, Neese a .278 ERA. The Mets have scored no runs in 4 of those 9 starts. They've yet to break through so far tonight. Strike one to Miller. Mets are blistering the baseball. 18 homers in their last 9 games. Boy, their lineup is all of a sudden very deep.
Yes, it is. And flexible.
That's what everybody was clamoring for in New York. Offense for the Mets. With Kelly Johnson, with Uribe, with Cespedes now, and the healthy return of Travis d'Arnaud, and the hot streak of Lucas Duda. New York in first place by a game over Washington. Two and two. Miller smacks one to center. Gregor Blanco drifting back out there.
Watched little pitchers batting practice yesterday. They had a contest going, and for his team, Shelby Miller was peppering the seats. Unfortunately, Matt Whistler's team had the last at bat, and Whistler sealed the deal. His team won.
All right. Straight set down by Peavy now. We head back to the top of the order. Nick Markakis with an 11-game hitting streak after his 3rd inning single. I thought Pence caught the ball.
Well, you and Yuri can talk all about it after the game.
No, we can't. I don't think I can understand Spanish. He's had to cover a lot of ground. And he made a great effort, but could not hold on. The Braves happy about that for it. Want the Braves from a run down to tie it up. Just missed. PVN Posey thought that was good enough.
I think Nick kind of did too. Cutter, backdoor cutter, just wide. Good call by Lance Barrett.
And out of play. Full count. There's been a change in the umpiring crew tonight. Remember, we pointed out C.B. Buckner was focus of attention out at second base by Braves athletic trainer Jim Lovell. So Toby Basner has joined this crew. He's the man at second base. Markakis, a high hopper to Duffy at third. He's got it. And throw in plenty of time. We got 3 down in Atlanta fifth. Good ball game brewing in Atlanta. 1-1 your score.
Aldridge. We don't know when Andrelton Simmons will be back in the lineup. He's hoping for later on this week, but he did pick up a little bit of hardware this week because of his attitude and his play. He received a Heart and Hustle Award, one of 30 winners of that, and that's for the players who demonstrate a passion for the game of baseball and best embody the values, spirits, and tradition of the game. Now, that's the only award in Major League Baseball voted on by former players. Guys, the MLB Players Alumni Association is behind the award, and the overall winner will be announced in November, Chip.
Thanks, Andre. That's a nice honor.
Well deserved.
Miller back to work with the top of the order for the Giants, Nori Aoki.
It's nice that you get acknowledged for that kind of play. But I go back to something Johnny Gomes said about things like hustling, like breaking up a double play, like legging out an infield hit, or hustling so that you don't turn a double play. He said, that's what you're supposed to do. And it's too bad that, as we've said before about Andrelton and his work ethic, that even an ounce of that doesn't rub off on everybody, because they actually have to sit on him to slow him down a little bit.
Yeah, you told a great story on the road trip. For those who missed it, the Braves have actually put a cap on the number of swings this guy takes.
50 swings outside of what is normal batting practice on the field.
Fly ball by Aoki toward Markakis in right, and Nick will get there. 1 out.
Of course, right now he's not allowed to even put a bat in his hands because of that sore thumb.
And I think the comparison you made was a good one too. Not like Martin Prado was as a Brave. But you know, not playing is killing Andrelton Simmons. But no wrap, it appears, on that right thumb, which is a very encouraging sign. As Miller gets the first out and brings up Gregor Blanco.
What's that old song by Fleetwood Mac? Some line that players only love you when they're playing. Well, Freddie Freeman fits that same mold as Andrelton. Man, they want to be on the field and they want to be in there.
Shelby Miller pitching great. 3 hits allowed to the Giants. 2 of them in the first inning. And Blanco takes outside. 2 balls and a strike. Gregor's got a couple of World Series rings in 2012 and last year with the Giants too. Out of Caracas, Venezuela, lives in Miami in the offseason. Swing and a miss. That was a nasty pitch. 2-2.
Still throwing 95.
Gregor Blanco will forever be a hero in San Francisco. He made a great catch to help preserve Matt Cain's perfect game in 2012.
Always been a good defender. It was just the question was, will he hit enough? He got stronger, he got more experience, he got better.
Career .257 hitter with the Giants, and that's also his major league career batting average. Not a lot of power. On base percentage 330, 340 or thereabouts. Strikes out about once every 4 at bats. In the last 3 years, only 3 errors for San Francisco, and he's played 141 games or more each of those 3 seasons. He's a fast man, and he's at first with a 1-out walk.
First one issued by Shelby.
Let's see how the Giants play it. They ran with Duffy in the first inning. And he successfully stole his 5th base. Goes 7 out of 11 in steals. He's got a good lead. Line drive into left field by Duffy. That's a hit. They're first and second with 1 out. Man, oh man, what a find for the Giants. Matt Duffy, again a rookie who can step in and hit third.
And it's all hands. Stays back, head stays really still, He's a real slender guy. He's 6'2", 170. You know, he's not some muscle guy. Well, he's got a good set of hands on him in his swing.
Duffy got to the big leagues 20 minutes after the trading deadline last year.
Buster Posey's driven in 74 runs, including one tonight. And it stands to reason when the guys in front of you are hitting 310, 290, and 301. Somebody's on base.
Blanco and Duffy, good runners. Posey, a great hitter. Riding a 15-game road hitting streak. He's 0 for 1 tonight. And that's high, ball 2. San Francisco's 3 games out of first. You're watching that Dodger-Phillies score at Citizens Bank. It's now a 1-1 game. Now real trouble. 3-0 with Hunter Pence lurking.
Braves are playing him exactly straight away. That's because you really can't overplay him one way or the other. He uses both left and right, and predominant number of hits are to center field. 363 at bats this year, 102 of them with runners in scoring position.
And Miller walked him. So the bases are loaded with 1 out. And here's Hunter Pence. Giants as a team hitting 293 with runners in scoring position. Hunter Pence is 3 for 6 this year with the bases loaded. Remember, though, he's missed a ton of time with injury.
Yeah. Praying Mantis, the only guy I know of in Major League Baseball that wears his baseball pants like an NFL wide receiver above his knees.
Cued off the end of the bat, strike 1.
He told me last year he did that, started doing that in batting practice because it was a little cooler, and he said it felt so comfortable that I just started doing it in the game. A little more freedom.
To first. Chris Johnson's going to step on the bag at first. A run's going to score.
Oh, I forgot how many outs there were.
Chris thought there were 2 outs.
That might have been a chance for a double play.
So a gift run for the Giants. Scores Gregor Blanco to make it a 2-1 game.
This ball was hit so hard. One hopper. Shelby thought, okay, well, he's going home. Shelby was looking at home, and everybody then had to yell at Chris to remind him. Had he gone to second base, Shelby was breaking over to cover first for a potential 3-6-1 double play chance. That hurt.
So Pence's 32nd RBI gives San Francisco the lead. It's a 2-1 score, and here's Belt. Foul ball. Six at the letters, 0-2. Had some anger to it.
Yes, it certainly did.
did too. Miller strikes out Belt on 3 pitches. A 1-out walk and a ground ball with the bases loaded puts San Francisco in front. One. Jake Peavy has the lead in game 2 of the series. Braves fans, just 2 days until country superstar and Georgia native Billy Currington performs after the Braves Marlins game this Thursday night, August 6th. A free post-game concert brought to you by Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines. Get your tickets now at Braves.com/concerts. Won't know until after the game if Chris forgot how many outs there were. Sure looked like it. And for Shelby Miller, more bad luck on the mound.
Don't have to wait. He forgot. He was headed to the dugout until somebody yelled, and you could see how startled he was when he turned around.
He's due third here in the 6th. See if Yuri Perez can get something started. He's got a single and a strikeout. And he tried to punt. He did so foul. Strike 1. Tell you how snake bit Shelby Miller has been this year. Drew tells us he has pitched with the lead in 35 1/3 of 139 innings pitched this year. And 18 of those 35 1/3 innings were during 2 complete game shutouts. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
So that tells me there have been so many stressful innings where he's had to work so hard to make good pitches to avoid giving up extra runs.
One of the most poorly supported pitcher in the game. 2.5 runs of support. He's got 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that skips up there, even count.
John Lester, the next closest at 2-7. His last 9 starts counting tonight, he has a total of 5 runs. And in 6 of those 9, he's gotten 0.
See if Peavy can help the cause by putting Perez on. Strike 3 called. Perez can't believe that.
Second time he's been called out looking. Perfect pitch, according to our PNC Bank Fox tracks.
How about Peavy tonight? 7 strikeouts. That's a season high for the Giants right-hander.
He's had to throw a lot of pitches to get here, a lot of deep counts, as you mentioned. But he's been able to finish the hitters.
In case you wondered, Jake Peavy's career high in strikeouts is 16. He's done that twice. Last in April of 2007. Three and 0. AJ coaxes a 1-out walk. And that is the first for Peavy tonight. AJ Brzezinski has discovered the fountain of youth here in Atlanta, Georgia.
27 fewer games this year and only 1 less hit, more homers, almost the same number of RBIs. I'm sure he would say to you that a lot of it has to do with regular playing time, and a lot of it.
Mets have tied Miami in the 6th inning. 1-1 with 2 outs. We're in the 6th in Atlanta. 2-1 Giants lead in game 2.
That 100 pitch mark for Peavy is a season high as well. Saw Contos last night. Of course, we saw everybody last night.
Yeah.
Both sides.
One and 2. And that's over the outside corner. Chris took it. 2 out.
Called, 3rd strikes out of his 8. How about that follow through? Looked like he just punted for Alabama.
Belts plays in front of Brzezinski at first base with 2 outs. Low and away. 1 ball, no strikes.
See if Cameron can find a gap moving down in the order to perhaps take advantage of the fact that he's driven in so many runs already this year and that good on base percentage, or excuse me, good average hitting with runners in scoring position. I know AJ's at first, but hit a gapper and maybe AJ can wheel it around.
Right there, even count. Cameron had a couple of hits last night. He has 6 hits against the Giants this year. Good for 3 RBIs. The Braves dugout. 1-2.
Last night, Sergio Romo pitched in relief for the Giants. Worked an inning. Struck out 2 batters. I think he only threw 1 fastball in the inning. Everything else was a slider. Jake Peavy has not done that, but man, has he thrown a ton of sliders tonight.
Driven toward right. Pence retreats and reaches up to make the play. A.J. Pierzynski walked and was stranded, and Jake Peavy is through 6 innings with a 1-run lead. Back to the AT&T Uverse trivia question. Jake Peavy was its subject tonight. Since his debut 13 years ago, there is only 1 pitcher in baseball with more strikeouts and fewer walks than Jake Peavy.
I'm going with your guy,
Tim Hudson.
Yeah.
Do you want to spread it around and say Bartolo Colon? Oh, Felix Hernandez.
That surprises me. Peavy 2,052 strikeouts. Hernandez 2,091. 613 walks for Felix. 657 for Peavy.
Don't know when it's going to happen for Felix Hernandez, but it's a shame he's been saddled with some really bad offensive teams in Seattle. Mariners really been a disappointing club this year. Some have them ticketed for a deep run in the playoffs this year. Instead, for Seattle, they're 49-58. And they have not solved their home woes. Seattle's an amazing 9 games under 500 at Safeco Field. Fly out of play.
I know Robinson Cano had a real rough start. His first couple of months weren't very good compared to last season, where he was on fire for the Mariners. But Nelson Cruz has done a great job kind of filling in those gaps.
AJ asks for an appeal and no swing, even count. Arizona has tied Washington 3-3 in the fourth. Mets in Miami tied at 1, bottom 5. Here it's 2-1 Giants. A 1-out walk and a bases loaded ground out. And now Crawford hits in a mile high to right. Marquez hardly had to move. 1 down. Andrian's bats. He has grounded out and he has doubled. That was the funny play in left when Yuri Perez made the diving try. Thought he had the ball in his glove, but he kicked it to the fence.
That was one of the more fun plays of the year since the run didn't score.
Right.
And watching the reaction in the dugout, that was outstanding.
Ball 2. Angel Pagan has grabbed a bat. He'll hit for Peavy next. Peavy 6 innings of 5-hit 1-run ball. And a shot to second. 2 outs. And now Pagan is called back. It's Justin Maxwell who's going to step to the on-deck circle.
Giants have to be very pleased with Peavy's outing tonight, especially since he's only gotten 2 runs of support and it's a lead.
He's won his last 2 decisions. His first start here in Atlanta since 2006.
He's never won here. 3-4 lifetime against the Braves. 0-2 in this park.
Now the game in the hands of Bruce Bochy's very capable bullpen, but a bullpen that sprung a few leaks last night. 2 balls, no strikes.
George Contos continues to throw in their bullpen. Looks like he'll be next.
And 4 straight puts Maxwell at first with 2 outs.
Two walks last inning and then a 4-pitch walk here in the 7th. And that 1-out walk to Blanco in the 6th came back to haunt him.
So here's Aoki. Aoki signed a 1-year contract to play with the Giants. There's also a team option on his services for next year. And he hits the first pitch toward right. Marquez still going back, reaches up and makes the play. And Aoki and the Giants are out of luck in the 7th. Stretch time at Turner Field. Time to get some offense for Shelby. It's a 2-1 game.
your Atlanta area Mazda dealers. Driving matters. And Georgia Power.
All year long, our friends at Delta Airlines get us from city to city after our series concludes with the Miami Marlins this weekend. Brief 2-game trip down to Tampa St. Pete. We'll look at Kevin Cash and the Tampa Bay Rays. As we said, the Braves have more home games left than anybody in baseball. Hopefully they can take advantage again tonight. That means coming back against a Giants bullpen that's been very, very good. Last night's issues notwithstanding.
Contos came in relief of Matt Cain after Cain could not get an out in the 6th inning. Gave up 2 singles, a homer, and a double. Then Contos kind of calmed things down, worked an inning, gave up a hit, but no further damage.
See that opponent's average. He is even better when they're met at second and third base. Contos has given up 6 hits all year with a runner in scoring position. Challenge is getting someone there in the first place. We'll see if Jace Peterson can begin the inning in good stead with Garcia and Castro to follow. A strike.
Peavy never got over 91 tonight, no matter how hard he tried. Last couple of pitches, 93, 94 from Contos.
George must be a smart guy. He went to Northwestern University out of Niles West High School in Illinois. Born and lives in Lincolnwood. Another veteran of Tommy John surgery. Contos came over from the Yankees in April of 2012 for catcher Chris Stewart. Sharply hit, Belt, nice play. Contos got to the bag in time for the first out.
Belt gets it done. He's just not real graceful over there. I don't know what he did there, but he apparently hurt himself on that catch and fall. So the same 2 teams back at it tomorrow. Williams Perez against Madison Bumgarner. The way he landed on his hip. Wasn't pretty, but it was an out.
There you go. Garcia for 2. Nona struck out the Atlanta 4th. That's when Peavy struck out the side. Ball was flying out of the park last night. Very stingy offensive night for both clubs. 3 runs, 9 hits combined this evening in game 2. And that's out of play. 0-2 your count.
Might be the last inning for Shelby if his turn at bat comes up this inning. Might be anyway. He's over 100 pitches. I would guess he'd lobby to stay in if his turn doesn't come up. Hawkesbury was up. Now it's Aardsma.
Posey tried to frame it, didn't get the call. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Line drive to left on a 1-2 pitch. That's the tying run. Garcia continues to impress at the plate.
Yeah, this was just protecting. That pitch was a little closer to Adonis than he wanted. Knew he made a mistake and paid for it. Tried to pitch him inside and he kept turning on the ball, pulling it foul. They're going to try to go in.
That was too tight. 1 ball, no strikes. That's out of play to the right side. Last night the Giants had a 6-0 lead and blew it. Last time they lost a lead of 6 runs or more and lost was September 10th, 2013 against the Rockies. From the Braves standpoint, it was also an historic comeback. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, in only one other game in Braves history since '66 did the team hit both a come-from-behind game-tying homer in the 9th and a come-from-behind game-winning home run in extra innings. That happened in 1971 when Sonny Jackson tied it in 9th and Mike Lum hit a 3-run game-winning homer to beat the Cubs. In the 140-year history of the Braves, there were only 2 other games with an outcome similar to last night's victory over the Giants. It happened once in 1887 and once against St. Louis in 1894. One ball, 2 strikes. Bouncing ball toward third, foul. And to tell you how our game has evolved over a century plus, according to the custom of the time in those 1880 games and the 1890 game, the home team got to choose when they wanted to hit. And in both of those games, the home team hit first, and it was the Braves who took advantage with the wins in the last at bat.
On either of those dates in the 1800s, did any of the players come running out on the field waving their towel like AJ did last night, celebrating?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the count to Castro. We could sure ask AJ how old Hoss Radbourn and Kid Nichols look, though. 2 of those Hall of Famers pitched in those games, or played in those games, I should say. Old Hoss in 1887, Kid Nichols in 1894. Good battle here with Castro and George Contos. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Little tapper. That's going to be a tough play for Duffy. No play. All hands are safe. Daniel Castro earned a 1-out hit. And the Braves are in business. 2 on, 1 out. Pedro Siriaco is coming up.
Daniel earned this. I mean, right off the end of the bat, the pitch up and away. But he's put up a good battle tonight, and he's got 2 hits now to show for it. Perfect swinging bunt. Shelby's due a win on something like this, where he's been taken out of the game and a pinch hitter for him or some hitter that follows gets a big knock.
Pedro's 8 for 26 in a pinch with 4 RBIs. Seven innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts for Shelby Miller. 105 pitches for his effort tonight. Garcia leads at second, Castro from first. 1 out, 1-run game. Pedro didn't get it. 0-2.
It's a hard slider. 93, 88 slider.
Long inning for Canto so far. And now Pedro fouls one off.
Took a little off his swing. He's behind in the count. He's just trying to put it in play and hope he finds a hole somewhere.
Seitzer's crew has scratched together 7 hits. And 8th could tie it. Fly ball that's headed for the gap, and it's going to get down. Here comes a runner around third. There will be no throw. Pedro Ciriaco ties it up with a 2-strike hit. Castro all the way around to third, and a great chance now for the Braves to take the lead.
Great job by Pedro again. He's been the best pinch hitter for the Braves all year. Slider up. That's what allowed him to reach it. Pedro's closing in on 100 plate appearances for the year. No walks. He's up there to swing.
So once again, this seemingly impenetrable Giant defense has given up a lead. Cantos allows 3 straight hits and a game-tying RBI hit for Pedro Ciriaco. The 7th inning continues in a moment. Come to town. It starts Friday night with autograph sessions from Braves Hall of Famers like John Smoltz, Bobby Cox, and Chipper Jones. Saturday, get here early for the 6th annual Legends softball game. It's the Braves and the Marlins alumni weekend here at Turner Field. We hope you'll make your plans to join us.
And we'll expect John to demonstrate how to catch a ball, softball, over that short outfield fence.
It's a good call. And as we promised you earlier tonight, we've selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to #SouthDataStrongFan for your chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
Thank you, Lisa. Nice hat.
Golden opportunity for the Braves as Jeremy Affeldt is on for the Giants.
He has had a rough year. High ERA, high batting averages against him. Sore shoulder, battling through that. If there's one plus on his ledger so far this year, it's that he has stranded 17 of the 18 runners he has inherited. He's been a big part of their success over the last 3 or 4 years, but this year is an exception.
Bounced foul at first, and an even count for Nick Markakis. Has one of the Braves' RBIs tonight. Fly ball could bring home Castro with 1 out. A liner foul. One hop into the stands. It's 1-2.
Maybe the Braves will bring back those powder blues one night. You know, just surprise everybody.
I like it. And turn back the clock a couple of years ago when they had the home whites.
Yeah.
Good looking togs. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Markakis, a little chopper. And a great base running play between first and second by Siriaco. That brought home Castro, and the Braves have taken the lead. And Affeldt is furious. And Bruce Bochy is on his way to the mound. A little tapper hit towards second. And the Giants' second baseman froze for a moment.
I think Bochy's on his way to talk to the umpire. The baseline is where the base runner makes it. Not necessarily a straight line between first and second. And it looked like Adrianza was well inside the line here. Not reviewable.
But an excellent base running decision by Siriaco just to stop.
Yeah, if you run into the tag, then it's an easy double play. Even if you stop and they go to first and get the out and then throw to second and get you, that's not a force play. The run counts.
So Castro has scored 2 runs tonight. The Braves lead by a run, and Yuri Perez bats with Siriaco at second base. Two runs on 3 singles in the 7th inning.
And a lead for Shelby Miller.
One ball, no strikes.
Get them while they're hot. Drive in another one.
Perez didn't get it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Big slow hook. He's got a good one. Fastball in the high 80s.
Atlanta leads. Looking for another. And a swing and a miss. Will retire the side. 2 runs, 3 hits. Shelby Miller has the lead now as we go to the 8th inning in a 1-run Atlanta game. We've had baseballs bouncing all over the place, except over the fence tonight in Game 2. Well pitched, well executed offensive game, with the Braves now up by a 3-2 score.
How about that? 5 when trailing after 6, and that's twice to the Braves. That's supposed to be leading after 6, isn't it? The Giants are leading after 6.
But they've only lost 5 games?
Yeah. It's supposed to be when they were leading after 6, and 2 of those losses have been to Atlanta.
47-5. So Ross Detweiler gets the call to start the 8th inning. He's got left-hand hitting Gregor Blanco up first. Blanco a .211 hitter against southpaw pitching. And there's a first strike.
Ross had a rough time last night. He pitched in the 11th inning and walked 2 batters. But he got AJ to throw out one trying to steal, and he got a double play turn behind him that bailed him out. And then in the 12th inning, after 1 out, he gave up a single, hit a batter, and one of those runners came around to score on the hit by Posey, and was going to be the pitcher of record in the L column until Adonis Garcia hit the homer.
David Artsma is throwing now with right-handed bats coming up, and the strategy is spoiled on an 0-2 pitch. Blanco splits the gap, and that's going to roll for a while. Blanco around second, will stop there. So on an 0-2 pitch, Gregor Blanco has a leadoff double.
Well, Blanco's the guy he hit last night, so maybe he wanted a little payback and got it tonight, even on an 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball. Not a horrible pitch, but it was up a little bit. Gave him a chance to adjust.
So an 0-2 mistake forces Detweiler from the game, and the Giants have the tying run aboard to start the inning. Ross Detweiler out after allowing a leadoff double to Gregor Blanco. Now it's David Aardsma's turn to protect a one-run lead. 3-2 Atlanta with nobody out.
He worked a good inning last night. After a rough outing in Philadelphia, he came back with a 1-2-3 eighth inning last night. 2 flyouts and a strikeout. He inherits the tying run at second base. He's inherited 16 runners so far. Only 3 have scored.
Matt Duffy greets him first. Duffy's 2 for 3 tonight. And he takes a live fastball inside. Duffy has been a very productive hitter for the Giants. 14 for his last 30 with runners in scoring position. 11 RBIs in his last 19 games. And a line drive fair into the right field corner. Blanco can crawl home. Duffy on his way to second. Markakis has trouble digging it out of the corner. And the Giants will play it safe with nobody out. It's a double for Duffy, and the Giants have tied it up. So, no luck for Shelby Miller again.
This guy is getting better by the at-bat. Every time we see him, trying to get him over from second base to set up Buster Posey. Takes that fastball the other way and winds up on second base himself.
And now Buster Posey hits, but the Braves will take the bat out of his hands and walk him.
Got to. The go-ahead run's already in scoring position. You just can't let this guy beat you.
Fifth intentional walk for Buster Posey. Again, every time we see him, he gets better as a hitter. 33 strikeouts for Posey in 361 at-bats coming into tonight's play, with 16 homers and 73 RBIs. Amazing. So the tying run belongs to Detweiler. 2 runners aboard are Aardsma's responsibility, and here's Pence. Strike 1.
Pence has been hitting the ball to the right side. He has struck out looking tonight. He's grounded out twice to the right side. Only once last night did he pull the ball. Nice play by AJ. Blanco, who has terrorized the Braves in the past, does it again here in the 8th.
He was 1 for his last 10 coming into play tonight. 2 hits, a walk, and he scored 3 runs. 1-1 pitch. And Pence pops that into the upper deck to the right side. It's 1-2.
Really need a ground ball if you can get it, or a strikeout. Either one.
Swing and a rocket shot toward the gap. Will the park hold it? No. A line drive home run for Hunter Pence.
He didn't know it. He stopped at second to check with the umpires. I want to tell you something, folks. This guy he's different than most, but he is so strong. Chip was talking about seeing him in the clubhouse, the Giants clubhouse, and how big he is. Chokes up on the bat, and that was a low 400-foot rocket. High fastball. And watch it go. He had no idea it went out of the park. He's looking around.
Wow. I mean, that sounded like a rifle shot, didn't it?
Yeah.
And 4 across for the Giants in the 8th. They lead 6-3. Busted it open against the Braves bullpen.
That they have. Looked like Shelby Miller was going to be able to perhaps pick up a win with the way the Braves rallied there in the bottom of the 7th inning. Now he gets a no decision. Same for Jake Peavy. Peavy looked very good. 8 strikeouts in 6 innings. Gregor Blanco got things started here in the 8th inning with that double. Nobody out. Hunter Pence has hit a 3-run homer to blow it open.
And we're told the time from contact to the center field seats was 4 seconds on that screaming line drive from Hunter Pence. Wow. So 6-3 Giants. Matt Marksberry is on for his 3rd big league outing. And a ground ball towards second should take care of Belt. It does for out number 1. Well, a couple of 2-strike mistakes from the Braves pitchers in the inning. The 0-2 double that Gregor Blanco hit, and then Pence hit a 1-2 pitch.
First hard hit ball he's pulled. He's slashed some balls the other way and hit them sharply. But that would appear to be about almost letter high fastball in.
Well, if you want a bellwether for the Giants, with all due respect to Crawford, with all due respect to Buster Posey, and anybody else on their team, they are a different team when Hunter Pence plays and is healthy.
Now, as we said last night, after last night's game, they are now 27-11 when he starts. He's cut from that same cloth as Johnny Gomes in terms of his love for the game and how much joy he gets out of it. For Hunter Pence, there's only one way to play the game. Same with that guy.
Upstairs to Crawford, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Crawford didn't get it. Marksberry struck him out. 2 away. And that, I believe, is Matt's first big league strikeout.
I got him for 2. Oh, I beg your pardon. That was in Durham. So, yeah. Sure was.
Don't know if he threw the baseball out or not. But there are 2 outs for Adrianza, the Giants' second baseman. Romo up in the bullpen for Frisco.
It's a little different for pitchers. In that first hit, yeah, they'll stop the game and get the ball for a hitter. For a pitcher, unless it's convenient, they're not going to do that. And when you just gave up 4 runs, doesn't look real good.
Adrianza with a hit to center. And that comes with 2 outs. We've seen pitchers get the ball after the first strikeout. We've seen pitchers make their major league debut, throw a strike, and that ball gets tossed out too, which is rather odd at the start of a game.
Affeld's going to stay in the game.
Jay Brzezinski's set to lead off the home 8th. How many times has Affeldt hit? Once this year. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout. And in his career, Affeldt has 16 big league at bats. He's got 3 hits. Heads up. Yep. Saw the bat boy stop and get the pine tar stick.
It's not too often that you see a pitcher, especially a relief pitcher, hit with no batting gloves. Oh, beg your pardon. Thought he was going barehanded.
No balls, 2 strikes. And that's the inning. Marksberry did good work. Couple of strikeouts. First 2 he's had in the big leagues. The big low, Hunter Pence, a 3-run home run, part of a 4-run inning. We go to the home 8th. August 9th, a free post-game concert. VIP field and backstage passes are available now. Get them at Braves.com/concerts today. Affeldt stays in the game. A.J. Przinsky will greet him in the 8th inning. That young fan got a souvenir. That was the bat that Jeremy Affeldt spun into the seats during his 8th inning at bat.
That's a real souvenir. Affeldt maybe went ahead and was left in the game just to pitch to AJ. Get the leadoff man in the 8th.
AJ's 1 for 6 against him lifetime. And that one went off the plate, even count. Big battle in Washington, Arizona 3, Nationals 3, bottom 6. Mets have taken a 5-1 lead in Miami. That game in the bottom of the 8th. We'll see the Marlins here starting Thursday night. Low outside, ball 2. Reds beat the Cardinals in Cincinnati tonight. That's a 3-2 final score. Ground ball slowly out towards second. And bobble. There's a break. Adrianza with an error. And that opens the door for the Braves in the inning. And that's going to bring Bruce Bochy to the mound.
Well, that's not what Bochy had in mind here. Got the ground ball he wanted, but looked like Adrianza looked up a little too soon. So the Braves do have the leadoff man on.
So Affeldt goes 2/3 of an inning with a strikeout. No hits or runs so far. The man at first, his responsibility. Chris Johnson's coming up.
Our energy lately? CPI Security and Zaxby's.
Now that is a good looking hat.
Yeah, it is. That's a chopping helmet for you there. That is some good work. It's even got Braves tape. That was awesome.
He's going to need a neck brace, though, by the time the game's over. As Sergio Romo checks in for the Giants, he's the 3rd reliever tonight.
47 strikeouts, 34 innings, only 8 walks. He only threw 1 fastball like last night. He just threw 1 there.
Santiago Casilla has been the Giants closer, but he's in a slump right now. He's given up 7 runs in his last 8 1/3 innings. Meanwhile, Sergio Romo has pitched a whole lot better. No runs in his last 8 2/3 innings with 11 strikeouts.
There's the slider. I bet you about 95% of that strikeout total at least comes from his slider.
Lefties wear him out. 450 average. Righties only a 160 batting average.
Now there was some concern about Romo and his shoulder. Not a real surprise there with all the sliders, but that's why Casilla has been the closer. Romo's still in the setup role.
And he takes care of Chris Johnson on a check swing for the first out of the inning. Well, as a hitter, that's got to be so frustrating. You know what's coming, and you still can't do anything about it.
Well, he's got great command of it, too. I mean, he knows where to start it. Start it maybe at the outer corner of the plate and then have it slide off, especially when he's ahead in the count. And from that arm angle, it's tough to lay off.
Cameron Maybin 0 for 3 tonight. Belts plays in front of Przinsky. Giants 6, Atlanta 3. And a high hopper hit toward Crawford. He's going to go to second for 1. And no chance to get Maybin, who busts it down the line. Adrianza caught that ball awkwardly at the second base bag. Looked like he was hunting for the bag with his feet, but he forced Przinsky for the second out.
Yeah, it's amazing he got that throw off.
So let's see if the lefty-righty splits pay off for Jace Peterson. Another hit for Jace against the Giants. He has 11 of them in 25 at bats this year. And that missed inside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Low, I guess. Hitters count for Jace, and as you've already seen, he's not afraid to throw that slider to left-handers. Typically, he likes to bury it way inside, though.
Like that.
That was a fastball, and it was not where Posey was set up, but he got the call. Set up away. Fastball right below the eyes of Lance Barrett, so he got a good look at it. Maybe a backdoor slider this time. And it was.
Much better location. Same result, though. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 10 o'clock in Atlanta. Braves trailed 1-0 in the first. They tied it up a run apiece in the third. Giants led 2-1 after 6. Atlanta got 2 in the 7th. Had the lead for about 4 minutes until the Giants erupted for 4 runs in the 8th. And ground ball towards second. Adrianza has this one cleanly, and that's the inning. We go to the 9th inning. Top of the order up for the Giants. They enjoy a 3-run lead. doubleheader starting with the Dodgers taking on the Pirates in a key game for both clubs. Then at 7 Eastern, the National League Central leading Cardinals battle the Brewers in a game you can only see on Fox Sports 1. Coverage starts at 3:30 Eastern only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Before we start the ninth inning, let's enjoy our DirecTV division standings update. Division standings tonight are of the National League East, where the Mets have a 1-game lead over Washington.
As you see, there's the tied in the loss column. Mets have played a couple more games in Washington, but they have been on an offensive tear, the Mets, to support that good pitching of theirs. They trailed early tonight in Miami, but have regained the lead. Now 5-1 in the ninth.
Last time the Mets had a share of first place this late in the season was September of 2008. In Miami tonight. Ryan Kelly is the next Atlanta pitcher, and he's got the top of the Giants order in the ninth inning.
Ryan's been up. This is the 4th time. He's only been in 3 games, but boy, has he pitched well this year. He's a guy that was in the minor leagues for 9 years. If you don't remember us talking about him in his first trip up, and between AA and AAA he has 18 saves and 19 tries and an .087 ERA.
How about that swing from Aoki?
Almost hit him. That had some bite on it, that slider.
It looked like it hurt too.
Yeah.
The way Aoki swung the bat. And there's a foul ball. Fly ball well hit to right. A solo home run from Aoki on an 0-2 pitch. When the Giants hit 2 home runs in a game, they usually win handily.
High target away, but the pitch was down the middle and led her high. Tell you what, I guess the strategy tonight for the Braves bullpen has been don't get an 0-2 count.
Last night it was don't get to 2 outs. So the 8th and 9th inning, 2 strike mistakes have really cost the Braves dearly. It's allowed the Giants to score 5 runs. This is Gregor Blanco. Told you last night he didn't have much fun at the plate. He's made up for it tonight with a big 3-run game.
And the .345 career average against his original team.
Giants as a club don't hit a lot of home runs. They've hit just 93 of them. But the kicker is, of those 93, 62 have been hit on the road.
That makes sense.
And after this series in Atlanta, Hunter Pence and company head to Wrigley Field for a big date with the Cubs, who are in front of them in the National League wildcard race by 1/2 game. So it'll be a big showdown on Chicago's north side. Three and 1 for Gregor Blanco. And he walks. Fourth time Blanco has reached base tonight. Here's Duffy. He's got a 3-hit game. I know all those Cubs youngsters are getting a lot of play for the Rookie of the Year award, and certainly you can understand that. When you look at Duffy's body of work, he's got to be in the discussion.
He sure does.
Top batting average, among National League rookies. No, he doesn't have the 21 homers that Jock Peterson has, or the 14 long balls that Bryant has. But he's second to Bryant in RBIs. Second to Yasmani Tomas of Arizona in multi-hit games. He scored the third most runs, has the most hits, second most total bases.
Any of those guys hitting third?
That's what I was just about to say.
For the defending world champions?
There you go. (7-3) Giants. 4 in the 8th, 1 so far in the 9th.
Former Brave coaching at third for the Giants, Roberto Kelly. Tim Flannery's been their third base coach, but he retired. Roberto's been at first base for several years for the Giants. They moved him over to third base. Bill Hayes now coaching at first. Gregor Blanco's got a little air conditioning in his backside of his pants tonight. Not a bad idea on a hot night.
Don't give Hunter Pence any ideas. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, it was in San Francisco where the 1 flat down originated.
Oh, that's right. Fly ball to right. Markakis can't get there. Plays that on a hop. Blanco had an excellent read on it. He'll take third. A homer, a walk, and a bloop single. And Kelly hasn't retired anybody yet. Neither Detweiler nor Ardsma could retire a batter in the 8th inning. Oh, by the way, Duffy with a 4-hit game. And here's Posey. Duffy had a 4-hit game July 10th. He's got 1 August 4th in Atlanta. Buster Posey with 74 RBIs, licking his chops, and takes a strike. Ground ball and through for a hit. Blanco scores. Duffy stops at second. (8-3) Giants. They have 11 hits, and that will bring Hunter Pence to the plate. And Hunter Pence, cold early, got hot late. 4 RBIs in his last 2 at-bats.
Just a laser on this fastball from Ardsma. Never got very high, and it was recorded on tape. Only took 4 seconds to get out.
That's our SunTrust save of the game. Strike 1. Little tapper, center of the diamond. And Castro makes a nice play to double up Pence. Look at how Buster Posey went at second base in an 8-3 game. He tried to break up the double play. Couldn't do that. Duffy to third, 2 outs. Well, on second thought,
just getting out of the way.
Yeah.
Smart on his part. But he did pick up his 75th RBI.
So, not sure if Paul Goldschmidt has done any damage for the Diamondbacks tonight. If not, Posey will be 2 behind the Arizona first baseman among National League leaders.
No RBIs for Goldschmidt tonight. He's struck out 4 times.
Really? So it's 3-3 Arizona and Washington tonight.
DJ LeMahieu for the Rockies is like in the top 10 in the league in hitting. 0 for 5 with 5 punch outs last night, if you can believe that.
Max Scherzer started that game for Washington. Patrick Corbin for the Diamondbacks. Scherzer, you might recall, a former #1 pick of the Arizona team back in 2006. Yusmeiro Petit is up in the pen. Not a save situation for the Giants. They lead by 5 runs in the 9th. And that's taken high. 2-2. Cubs lead the Pirates 5-0. That game's in the 9th inning at PNC. Phillies 5-2 over the Dodgers. Alex Wood started that ball game for LA in his debut.
6 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts.
Mets lead 5-1 in Miami in the 9th inning with 2 outs. Reds beat the Cardinals 3-2. Milwaukee beating San Diego 2-1. Keep an eye, as I keep saying, on the Padres. They're 6 out of the wild card, but 2 games under 500. Down the right field line, foul. Another game in a National League ballpark is an interleague game. Seattle 3, Colorado 3 in the 5th. Toronto won again. They beat the Twins 3-1. Yankees clubbing Boston 13-3 in the 8th. Texas over Houston 4-3 in the 6th. Tampa Bay 10-1 over the White Sox in the 7th. Baltimore at Oakland, Cleveland, and the Angels just getting started.
Is that White Sox run fizzling?
Upstairs, full count. They've lost 2 straight. They're 12 back, 4 under.
But only 3.5 out of a wild card spot. A lot of teams to climb over, though.
Swing and a miss. And the top of the 9th inning comes to a close. The Giants pick up 2 more runs. Aoki hit a solo homer to get things started. It's 8-3 San Francisco. for series supremacy. Here's a look at who's starting. Our starting pitcher is brought to you by Chevron.
Tough matchup with Madison Bumgarner going for the Giants. He's 11-6 on the year. ERA a little higher than you would have expected, even though it's still outstanding at 3.39. Williams Perez lost his first game as a big leaguer. His last time out, his return from the disabled list in Baltimore. He got knocked around. He was a little wild. Said he did not have good command of his fastball. Hopefully it will be better tomorrow night.
Join us at 6:30 for Braves Live. First pitch at 7:10. Bumgarner versus Perez in Game 3 in Atlanta. This is Yusmeiro Petit. He's on for the 9th inning. He's got a 5-run lead.
And he worked 2 innings last night. Did not rack up a high pitch count because he retired 6 of the 7 guys he faced. Only one man reached, and that was A.J. Przinsky with a base hit. He was going to be the winning pitcher were it not for the Braves rally in the 9th off Casilla. That's not true. Off of Vogelsong. Beg your pardon.
So barring a huge comeback for the Braves, Shelby Miller's winless run will stretch to 14 starts. Atlanta led for him 3-2, but the Giants scored 4 runs off 2 Braves relievers who could not get an out. Big blow, the Hunter Pence 3-run homer. Eight, 11-1 for the Giants. 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Braves. Strike 3 at the knees, 1 out.
The 14 straight games, if it finishes the way it looks right now, 14 straight without a win, would be the longest since Kenshin Kawakami went 14 games without a win from April to June of 2010.
Castro singles to center on the first pitch. Well, he's had a terrific night tonight. 3 hits for Daniel Castro. He scored 2 of the runs. And he's aboard in front of Joey Trgoslovich, who will enter as a pinch hitter.
Joey T, every time he comes up, he gets a new number. He's going to land on one he likes.
He's number 53 now. And there's a strike. Trgoslovich 1 for 12 this year as a pinch hitter. That hit a home run on June 9th for his first career homer. Against Joaquin Benoit of the Padres. Ball and a strike. That's low. 2-1. Final in Miami, the Mets did win tonight. 5-1 over the Marlins. So New York will remain in first place another day all alone. And that caught a corner. 2-2. Defensive swing, but Trgoslovich is still alive. Lifted toward left. And there's the second out. Aoki puts it away. And Nick Markakis, the final hope for the Braves tonight.
Well, there's some great hope going on after 7 innings when the Braves put those 2 runs across and gave Shelby Miller the lead and turned it over to the bullpen. But that dissolved quickly in the top of the 8th. Back-to-back doubles, an intentional walk, and a home run.
Nick has 2 of the 3 Braves RBIs tonight. He has 36 for the year. Giants don't hold Castro. He takes second on defensive indifference.
Got that look at A.J. Brzezinski a minute ago on the railing. I looked up his hit total a while ago. He's up to 1,951 hits. There's 55 games left after tonight, so it would take quite a rampage to get to 2,000 this year, but he could do it the way he's swinging it right now.
Another hit for him tonight after 4 last night. AJ will look at his batting mark at .302 after tonight's play. And Posey caught that on a bounce. Looked like a hockey goalie. Might see Posey at first base tomorrow night. Should have tried to frame it like A.J. Brzezinski did last night.
Yeah.
1-2 pitch. And a bouncer to the right side. Belt has it. Flipped to the pitcher covering. And the Giants with a 6-run outburst late take care of a 3-2 Atlanta lead and even the series at a game apiece. 8-3 your final score tonight. Pence drove in 4. Buster Posey drove in 1. And the Giants have won game 2.